The airplane hummed steadily as it cruised above the clouds. It was supposed to be a smooth, uneventful flight, just another journey across continents. Businessmen typed away on their laptops, families settled in with blankets, and flight attendants moved quietly down the aisles. In first class, however, tension was building. Alexander Grant, one of the world's most powerful CEOs, sat rigidly in his wide leather seat. Known in boardrooms as a man who could command an entire industry with a single decision, he now looked utterly powerless. Beside him was his 8-year-old son, Ethan, who had autism. Ethan's hands covered his ears as he rocked back and forth, tears streaming down his face. The unfamiliar sounds of the aircraft, engines rumbling, safety announcements, clinking glasses, had become overwhelming. Suddenly, he let out a piercing scream. Passengers turned. Some frowned, others groaned. A few whispered complaints. Alexander's face flushed with shame. He was used to controlling markets, entire corporations, but here he couldn't even calm his own son. "Shish, buddy, it's okay. Daddy's here," he whispered, trying to hold Ethan, but the boy pushed him away, thrashing. Flight attendants rushed over, kind but visibly nervous. They offered snacks, toys, distractions, but Ethan's meltdown only escalated. He screamed louder, kicked the seat in front of him, and buried his face in his arms. The murmurs around first class grew harsher. Some people just can't control their kids. Unbelievable, on a long flight like this. Why can't he keep him quiet? Alexander heard it all. For the first time in years, the man with a billion-dollar empire felt utterly helpless. He would have given away every share of his company just to see his son calm and happy again. And that's when a voice from economy class spoke up. "Excuse me, may I try?" Heads turned. Standing awkwardly in the aisle was a man in simple jeans and a plain shirt. He wasn't polished like the other passengers. His hands looked rough, calloused from labor. He was Daniel Carter, a single dad traveling with his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Alexander blinked, confused. "You want to try?" Daniel nodded softly. "I might be able to help. My daughter, she's on the spectrum too. I've been through this many times." The CEO hesitated. Strangers rarely understood Ethan. Most gave him looks of annoyance or pity. But right now, Alexander had no other options. His eyes were weary, pleading. "Please," he whispered. Daniel stepped forward gently, crouching to Ethan's level. He didn't rush. He didn't force. He simply sat cross-legged on the aisle floor, as though the two of them were the only people on the plane. From his pocket, he pulled out a small object, a tiny, well-worn toy car. It was scratched and faded, but clearly loved. "Hey, buddy," Daniel said softly. "I've got something for you. Look, wheels that spin." He rolled the car slowly on the carpet, making a quiet, vroom, sound. Ethan peeked through his fingers, still sobbing, but curiosity flickered in his eyes. Daniel didn't push. He just kept rolling the car, humming a gentle tune under his breath. It wasn't a song anyone recognized, just a soft rhythm that matched the car's movement. Something began to shift. Ethan's cries softened. His rocking slowed. Inch by inch, he reached out, tiny fingers trembling, until they touched the car. Daniel smiled. "That's it. You've got it. Want to roll it back to me?" For the first time since the meltdown began, Ethan let out a small giggle. He pushed the toy car back across the floor. Daniel exaggerated his surprise. "Whoa, that's the fastest car I've ever seen." Ethan laughed again, quiet at first, then freer. The tension in the cabin melted. Passengers who had been frowning now watched in stunned silence. The boy who had been screaming uncontrollably only minutes before was now smiling, engaged in a simple game. Alexander stared, speechless. He had tried everything: therapists, expensive tools, countless strategies. And yet this ordinary man, with nothing more than a toy car and a gentle voice, had done the miracle no one expected. When Ethan finally leaned against Daniel, resting his head on his shoulder, the entire plane seemed to exhale. A flight attendant quietly wiped away a tear. Alexander's voice cracked as he whispered, how did you do that?" Daniel looked up, shrugging humbly. "I just learned to listen, to slow down, to meet him where he is. My daughter, Lily, she's my best teacher." At that moment, a little girl with curly hair peeked from behind an economy seat. Lily smiled shyly, clutching a stuffed bunny. Ethan noticed her and waved timidly. She waved back. Alexander's throat tightened. For years, he had felt alone in his struggle. No amount of money could buy the kind of peace his son had just found. "Thank you," he whispered to Daniel, his voice heavy with sincerity. "I don't think I can ever repay you." Daniel shook his head. You don't need to. Sometimes, all a parent needs is another parent who understands. The rest of the flight passed peacefully. Ethan played quietly with the toy car, occasionally glancing back at Lily and giggling. Alexander, for once, sat back, not as a CEO, not as a man burdened by reputation, but simply as a father, grateful. When the plane landed, passengers began to clap softly. Not for the landing itself, but for the unexpected miracle they had witnessed mid-flight. At the gate, Alexander turned to Daniel. Listen, he said firmly, the powerful tone of a CEO returning, but softened by emotion. I run one of the largest companies in the world. But today, you taught me something no executive, no advisor, ever could. Please, allow me to help you and your daughter in any way I can. Daniel smiled politely, shaking his head. I appreciate that, but I'm not looking for help. I'm just doing my best, same as you. But Alexander wasn't satisfied. He reached into his briefcase and pulled out a sleek black business card. If you ever need anything at all, call me. Not as a CEO, but as a father who owes you more than I can say. Daniel hesitated, then accepted the card. As they parted ways in the terminal, Lily tugged at her father's hand. Daddy, she whispered, did we make a new friend today? Daniel looked down at her, smiling. Yes, sweetheart, I think we did. And somewhere deep inside, Alexander knew this meeting wasn't the end, it was just the beginning of something that would change all of their lives forever.